Generics. So, if you've been programming in C++, you should know what templated functions are and how they work. Generics in C# are very similar to templated functions in C++, but there are a couple of few key differences. So let's go ahead and create a generic method here. Static void, and I'm just going to go ahead and say print type. And now let's go ahead and say that if we call this method, we want it to just print out to the console whatever type of data it is. So it's a very simple example. So we don't know what we're going to be passing to this method. So if we put a T there, less than, capital T, greater than, and now we say TA, so this T is the type. And so this is just telling the compiler that, hey, we don't actually know what we're going to be passing to this particular method, but figure it out at runtime. Don't figure it out at compile time. And so now inside of here, we'll just do console.writeLine, and then we'll just say, let's see, string interpolation, and then what did I name it? I named it a.getType. So notice first off that this a dot, since it doesn't know what it is, everything will have an equals getType toString get hashcode, or pretty much everything should. And so if you pass it something, well, getType should return whatever that getType is. So even if it's an int, a string, or something along those lines. So now let's go ahead and call this. So now we can go ahead and say print type, and now we have to give it the type that we're actually going to be passing to this particular method. And then the value we will be passing to it. So notice that this int here, now this is saying that it's redundant because the compiler is able to figure out that, hey, this is a 42, this is an int. You don't need to tell us it's an int. We know that 42 is an int, but once you get into the habit of typing that there, it just becomes second nature. And so now if we run this, this is going to print out system.int32. If we gave it 42.5, for instance, notice that this is no longer an int. This would be a, I think it automatically sees it as a double. Well, we can tell it that it's a double. And now this is a system double decimal. So this is going to complain, argument of type double, because it sees it as a double. So we just add the M behind there to indicate that it's a decimal. System.decimal. String. And we can change this from that to a string. And now when we run this, notice that it is printing out system.string. So this type here, whatever type you pass into it, is going to become that type of A. And then this is just going to say, okay, well, whatever type you say it is, we're going to do something with that. So at compile time, it doesn't know, is this a string, is this an int, is this a float, whatever it is. It just knows that, hey, whenever this method is called, whoever calls it is going to tell us what type is going to be passed into that. And then once you are inside of that method, then you can start doing stuff with it. This T here doesn't have to be a capital T. It's pretty common that you have a capital T there, and if you have a second type, you would have a T2 or something. But you could also have type, for instance. Then all you have to do here is match that up, type and type. You could also do apple, for instance. This is the type that you're going to specify over in there. Everything will still work exactly the same. The normal way is that should be a T and that should be a T, or it could be a T in or T result or T something like that, but usually it begins with a T to indicate that, hey, this is a type.